Hey everyone, it's Joseph. A few things I need to express to you today. Um, First thing I want to do is tell you that relative to my last video, I had told you that we were going to have a private meeting for engine number two. It just so happens on the very day that I told you that, the company that represents engine number two is having a big webinar that evening at that same time. So the director of operations is supposedly going to be on there, and so I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to take advantage of that. Therefore, we're not gonna have our own little private meeting. We're gonna have this big meeting. This engine is releasing their own token, thus ICO, and he's going to talk a lot about that and give you updates on this particular company. So I'm going to send you an email today for our meeting, and it's going to be the meeting that I just spoke of. Okay, it's not going to be our little private meeting where I was going to field questions, show you the back office, etc. So I want to share with you that. Just want to let you know that over the last few days I've been researching more about this particular engine or company. I've been learning all kinds of stuff, and not just regarding this particular engine and company, but just regarding the cryptocurrency space in general. And man, I'm telling you, it's kind of mind-boggling. I can't say that I've come to any, I'm seeking to come to a conclusion, and there's a lot of information that I'd like to share with you that I can't because it's not confirmed yet. I've been talking to different types of people, multi-millionaires in this space, and I'm getting information not just about the space itself, but organizations like USI, etc. Until I get concrete, solidified information, I'm not going to share it with you. But I want to share it with you, but I can't. Okay? So at any rate, I would like to just make a blanket statement that, my friends, relative to America and the world and everything that I shared with you in the last video, we are in the wild, wild west relative to this cryptocurrency space, and not just the cryptocurrency space, but the entire financial space. Okay? All financials, whether it's fiat currency, cryptocurrency, money markets such as futures, stocks, etc. It's like the wild, wild west again, and that is a very good thing because that brings survival of the fittest. It brings forth an open, free place where people can, through their efforts, make longer strides than those people who aren't willing to put forth the efforts. With that said, I'm going to come back to that, but I just do want to show you this. In the last video, I told you, okay, now I've done this numerous times. I've told you where a market's going to go, and that's exactly where it's going. You check my last video, I told you the downside of Bitcoin is right now is about 6,300. Where is it at right now? It's 66 changing, every second here. 66, 69. So that's where we're at right now. And I had told you that that downside would be about 6,300. We've looked at the markets a little more in detail. I'm in a trading group, and as I told you, when you join our team, you get to be part of that group. The guy who's showing you his trading methods, he's a $1 million earner in the cryptocurrency markets. So I get my information. I've been getting my information recently from him. I used to, come up with my own information. That was extremely accurate if you look at my videos in the past. But he has a more detailed way of trading, and he came out yesterday and told us that instead of 63, we're looking at downside potential of Bitcoin of being about 5,700 to 5,800. And that there will be a retracement. Probably it will go back up, potentially up to 10,000, and could go lower after that. So that's kind of where we're at. I just wanted to give you the update on that. Regarding what I was saying, in terms of the wild, wild west, my friends, there are just so many there are just so many factors involved right now, and it is relative to what I was sharing with you in the last video. We have such a transitional time in our country and the world. Um, you know, we are at the infancy of these cryptocurrency markets, and when you consider, like, just take for example a market like precious metals, gold and silver. Um, you know, those markets have been around for centuries, and we've seen how those markets have moved over the years. I can tell you, just from my own experience with, say, gold and silver, basically, you know, they made a move about 8 to 10 years ago, and they pretty much stayed the same ever since. Um, you know, I saw gold go up to, or silver go up to about 50 something, and then it gradually came down. It never did anything since then. Those markets are pretty ancient. Our fiat currency used to be a real currency in America that was backed by gold and silver. That is a you know, part of our Constitution, that all currency in America is supposed to be backed by gold and silver. It no longer is. That was taken out. They got rid of the that part of our Constitution during the Nixon administration. Our currency is no longer backed by gold and silver. It is a fiat currency. It's backed by nothing. It's just the full faith and credit of the FDIC, I suppose. And so these are the forces that we are reckoning with here in the cryptocurrency markets, as I told you previously. And these forces, you know, they're in competition with us. And these forces are made up of, I'll just tell you this from my own study, they're made up of about 6,000 to 7,000 people and their administrators. They are the establishment. And in the establishment, they have established norms that they want you and I and the world to adhere to, okay? And this establishment is, you know, it's interesting. I'll share this with you. When America came into being in 1776, do you know what other entity came into being in that same year in 1776? I'll tell you this. It is the Illuminati. The Illuminati came into being in the same year that America came into being. The Illuminati, if you research them, you'll find out that they are a Luciferian society. They believe that Lucifer is God. Okay. The point that I've been trying to make to you in this video and the previous video is that, you know, all of this at its base, foundational level, is a spiritual battle, my friends. We are in a huge spiritual battle. You know, I've researched this type of information over the years, for many years now. I've also read the Bible many times, and when you bring them together, you can see how they all work together. I will say, to keep it simple, that we are in a spiritual battle in this world presently today, and that's why this is such a fascinating time. You know, we see the forces of this establishment, you know, really showing their true colors presently. We see all the corruption that's being unmasked by the present administration. We see, you know, the FBI corruption, the CIA corruption. We have an administration that's calling them on it, and the swamp is being purged, as I said, but it's going to take some time. It's literally like, for many years, Americans' hands have been tied, okay? And many people in the world, their hands have been tied as well. And this present administration is literally untying Americans' hands so that they can do business again. They're lowering the tax rate so that people can start having their own businesses and doing it in a financially feasible manner rather than being rooked by the establishment. This establishment has infiltrated every aspect of our lives, as I've told you in the past. You know, it's infiltrated the financial markets, it's infiltrated our culture, it's infiltrated our government, it's infiltrated the media, everything. The vast majority of mainstream or lamestream media is a product of this establishment. When you go to the movie house and the cinemas and you see a movie from a studio, you know, like the big ones like Warner Brothers and Universal, etc., you're seeing most of the time, you're seeing what this establishment wants to promote to you. You're seeing the agenda that they want to promote to you so that they can literally brainwash you, okay? And the reason we're in such fascinating times is because this establishment that is working through Hollywood, it's working through all the different means that I just shared with you, okay? They are being, they're coming face to face with the spirit of America and the spirit of freedom throughout the world. And what this has led to is a major conflict, okay? And this is why, part of the reason these are such fascinating times, okay? We're seeing a conflict on so many fronts. And by the way, if you're not aware of it, as I've told you before, one of the main fronts is the financial front. And one of the main culprits, one of the main engines that is battling here is the cryptocurrency markets, the one that we are right in the middle of, okay? And these forces have are fighting us not only to bring us down, but they're also fighting us by infiltrating us and trying to control part of the markets, okay? And hopefully one day I'm sure that they'll want to control all of the markets. The beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized, and that's the reason so many people flock to it. And as I told you previously, they don't like that. They don't want you flocking to something that's going to give you freedom, okay? So they're going to try to stop it. They live on a plantation, and they are the slave masters, so to speak. And we are the slaves, and that's what they want. And they want that relationship to remain the same till the end of time, okay? And they use all kinds of things through their so-called worldly power to try to control Americans and people of the world, okay? And one of the chief ways that they do it is through media. They have various tools. One of their biggest things is to use their age-old maxim, which is called divide and conquer. All you got to do is look at the media. Read the media, whether you're reading through Yahoo, you go through Google, go through Facebook, all of these places, they are all on the same team, you guys, okay? If you haven't heard, social media is they're now banning cryptocurrency advertisements, okay? You ask yourself, why would they want to do that? The reason they do it is because they're all on the same team. They're all part of this establishment, okay? They're all being paid. They're getting their money from this establishment, and they all work together. And that's why I say it is a spiritual battle. But they use things like divide and conquer. They're always promoting their race politics. They're always trying to get white to fight against black, black to fight against white. And that's all they have to do anymore, because they don't have anything else that they can use. Okay, so divide and conquer is one of their main tools. Another one of their main tools is called the Hegelian dialectic, and I encourage you to research this because it's extremely fascinating and interesting. The Hegelian dialectic is also called problem, reaction, solution, or crisis management. And typically what they do there is they create a problem, they fund both sides of the problem, and when that problem is designed to get a reaction, problem, reaction, the reaction from the people or the world populace, and then they always usher in a solution, and that solution always gives them more control than they previously had. So that's a big part. That's one of their major tools that they've used through years. They use that strategy by creating wars and funding both sides of the war. Another big tool that they use is called gradualism. Gradualism, I'm sure you've heard of that in the past. That's the whole idea of putting a frog in water and then turning up the heat very gradually turning up the heat of the water, and the frog just gets so comfortable that he doesn't even know he's being cooked to death. Okay, that's what they do. They use gradualism through all their different fronts, especially through the media, to control you and brainwash you so that you don't even know you're being cooked, okay, and destroyed, okay. I could go into all the details of this, but this video is only so long. I'm going to end it here pretty soon. Another one of their tools, just so that you know, is called semantic deception. And this is a big one. They like naming things the opposite of those things' purpose. For example, they'll call a smartphone a smartphone. When that smartphone is able to, through that smartphone, it really should be called a dumb phone, a stupid phone, because they're able to get all of your information, all of your phone calls, all of your online communication. They can hear you through your smartphone. Okay, they create what are called. Also, that smartphone has caused all kinds of tumors in people from continually using it. They have what's called smart appliances, and this is where they team up with, companies like GE, for example. If you remember during the Obama administration, he was good friends with the CEO there. And GE, you know, is a multi-billion-dollar company. And Obama made it so that GE didn't have to even pay any taxes, okay? And for example, this is just an example of how that type of relationship works. In return, GE would put chips in all of their appliances. All the appliances that GE creates has chips in them so that they can hear you. They can record you. They can hear what you're doing in your house. So that's just another perfect example of fascism, how government works with businesses. And in that business-governmental relationship, you have fascism. And they both scratch each other's back. In that case that I just shared with you, you know, our government is working with a company like GE so that they'll put little audio chips in our computer chips in our appliances so that they can hear whatever you're saying in your house. And in return, GE doesn't have to pay taxes. They're tax exempt. So they're working together. They're fascistic relationship. Well, these same type of relationships are going on right now in the cryptocurrency world. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, my friends, because you know, like I said, everybody's on the same team. It's really is called team evil, okay? I mean, you have people like in Saudi Arabia, like the sheikh, who in Dubai is trying to close, what I've been told, he's trying to close down, you know, certain cryptocurrency companies that are threats to them. But like the sheikh in Saudi Arabia works with all of these other establishment groups. And so they're all on the same team. And this is where it kind of becomes dangerous because, you know, Dubai is a great center where there's been tons of cryptocurrency companies. And if you're going to mine cryptocurrency in America, you're going to come under great regulations. That's why companies and, you know, people that want to get into cryptocurrency and have businesses, they do it outside of America because there's too many regulations. You know, you have a company like Vista that's trying to set up their mining operations, I understand, here in America, and they're going to come under so many regulations that they'll be out of business before you know it. And that's why they're already experiencing problems. So that's why companies go to places like Dubai. But you see, the establishment sees that happening, so they work with the sheikh to try to stop, you know, that flow of business and that movement, so that the cryptocurrency companies can get off the ground and bring forth, you know, more followers, and it can take off and be more popular. So these are the types of things that are going on, and I've just presented to you some scattered things. I didn't really put it in order. I just kind of did this off the cuff. But what I hope to do here as we proceed is to actually show it to you on paper, is to show you, you know, write it, diagram it out for you how things work and how it's all related to this cryptocurrency world that we're in. Just know that we are a major force against the establishment, and know that the establishment is coming under major fire, you guys. And it creates a situation because of the freedom that we are afforded here in the short term, because of all the developments, the changes that are going on in our country. It makes for this segment of real estate that we're operating in to be more like the Wild Wild West. You know, there's a lot of companies that really mean good. The whole essence of cryptocurrency, remember, is decentralization. You know, Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who he is. He kind of remains anonymous, and therefore you have companies. You have legitimate companies coming into this space, both in America and throughout the world, who they're coming under the same, you know, auspices as Bitcoin was formed. You know, they want to remain anonymous. Just like that's the norm for us here in the cryptocurrency world. And the reason it is the norm is so that we have decentralization. It's a good thing. And so you get companies, and I'm not going to really mention any names, but there's various companies out there in our space that also want to remain anonymous because they know the force is out there. If they try to bring forth any force, you know, it's going to cause major problems. So they want to remain anonymous. And it doesn't mean that those companies are bad. They just want to do business. They want to be free. They want to make a great living, and they want to help others make a great living. And so what happens is you get this establishment using its fascistic relationships to bring pressure on regular companies and try to get them out of business. And they've been successful. So, you know, That's why it creates kind of like the wild, wild west, and there's really no standard for to say that a company is a scam. Like to say that, for example, USI is a scam. It's not a scam. That is a legitimate company. And all that happened there was that you had the establishment and their fascistic relationship with, with our government using the SEC and the FTC to put pressure on a company like USI. And of course, the CEOs of USI, I've met them, a couple of them. They're good guys, but they don't want to go through a long lawsuit, spend lots of money, and so they just kind of cower like most people would, and they walk away from it instead of standing up for what they had originally spoken, because they don't want to have to challenge it and be in a lawsuit that's going to take many years and cost millions upon millions of dollars. So this is why we are in this type of situation. And then what happens is, people in the world, people involved, just a regular person like you and I, they'll say, oh yeah, see, that company's a scam, that's a scam. And you have all these different people with their different motives. You have people, marketers online saying, oh, this company is a scam. It's not a scam. There's all different stories here. You got people who are marketing their own businesses and they want to lead you to their business, so they want to take the thunder that a company like USI has had and use all the people that are moving to that company. They want a piece of that traffic, so they call it a scam, and they put in their title on YouTube, the USI scam or whatever, and then it gets people listening to their video. They'll come up with a little bit of information about the company and then bait and switch you to their company. Okay, so you have a segment of people doing that, and then you have various other people, like I was explaining, that they're going to call it a scam because that's what they've heard. And so they're kind of brainwashed, and they just go along with what they hear, and then it creates this buzz that this is a scam or that's a scam. And then when a company like USI is intimidated and they stop doing business, then everybody says, see, I told you, it's a scam, it's a scam. And it's not because the company was a scam, it's because the people just gave in. It's because the owners and the CEOs didn't stand up. It's not a scam, it's a legitimate business, just like so many of these businesses are. But it all starts with that establishment putting pressure, trying to intimidate through the fascistic relationships that I told you about. It's all establishment based, and we're meeting face to face with this establishment. And so it makes for exciting and fascinating times, you guys. And it creates a wild, wild west here on the frontier, because who's to say that this establishment that has come into our country, our government, it has been controlled by the establishment, and our government creates 200 to 300,000 laws per year. Aristotle said that the more laws that a state creates, the more corrupt the state is, and it's completely true. We have had in the past a very corrupt government here in America, but things are changing, and so it creates the wild, wild west because we're so used to this establishment putting upon us all these unconstitutional laws. I mean, literally unconstitutional laws, creating UCC code laws, all kinds of different types of laws that are completely unconstitutional. But because this establishment, the way that it works is, they lobby our politicians. They pay our politicians money, large sums of money. They get our politicians' loyalties, and then they have our politicians create bills that will promote the establishment's agenda. Okay, so they get these bills introduced, they get these laws passed, and these laws put ropes, they tie Americans up so that they can't even do business. If it was up to the establishment, they would have none of us being able to do business. The way that they want it is for a two-class system, the rich and the poor. Okay, and you're not the rich, okay? They are the rich, and you are the poor. And what they want is no competition. They love monopolies. They love no competition. They want to rule over you, okay? So that all you have to do is adhere to their system, and you can never be free. It's all about just being like robots and slaves to them, okay? And you just go to work and eat your porridge and find a way to find some happiness, okay? That's what they want. That's what they've had for years. And so what we got going on right now is this establishment is breaking down, and all of their unconstitutional laws, which many people in America and the world think are really laws, like They influence the SEC and the FTC. They create all kinds of new things, new laws that are unconstitutional, but those laws are passed because, like I said, the establishment pays politicians money. They lobby those politicians. The politicians get these bills passed. The bills become laws. And now these unconstitutional laws are operating through the SEC, the FTC, and people think, oh, that's the law. No, it's an unconstitutional law. The law of the land in America is the Constitution, okay? And this establishment has seeped through the very veins of our country. And they've corrupted us with their vile darkness on every front. And so Americans think that the stuff that they put forth is laws, but they're not. And we have an administration that's taking down many of those laws. Okay, it's taking the ropes off of, it's untying Americans so that they can live and do business again. Okay, and that's the reason why we're in the wild, wild west, because we're in such a transitional period where there's, you know, the actual law of the country is changing. Okay, the things that people thought were real are not real. I mean, they're starting to see it. And, you know, it's just like, you know, groups starting cryptocurrency companies are in this space, and, you know, there's a segment of people that want to call them, oh, that's a scam, that company's a scam, but it's not really a scam. They're just like any other company that's trying to do business and trying to make money and help other people make money. But you got the establishment coming against them because the establishment doesn't want to give up any control or any power. They want to always rule over us. And so that's why it's the Wild Wild West, because we have entrepreneurs just flooding in. And entrepreneurs were the people who have made America. You know, we got these entrepreneurs just flooding in, and they want to be free, and the establishment doesn't want them to be free. And it's like the Wild Wild West, because we have an administration that's allowing us to be more free presently, but it's not in full force yet, because it's going to take time. You just can't turn everything overnight. So anyways, I've just kind of expressed a bunch of stuff, but I just wanted you to get the picture that we are in the wild, wild west again, you guys, and that's a good thing. And there's more information coming, a lot of information. But remember, tonight we have this webinar for engine number 2 in our passive income portfolio. I'll put a link below this video for the passive income portfolio where you can get on my list, and you can help. You know, you can become part of this movement of growing and creating your own passive income portfolio, so that if one of your engines or companies goes down, you have other engines or companies making money. Okay, and we will do our private meetings regarding these engines. I also put, if you want to start the second business, I'll put a link for that. It'll be SeriousLivingOnline.com. And we will have a webinar tonight. And so till next time, my friends, take care and God bless. As you can see, Bitcoin's gone down from 69 to 65 right there. Take care, my friends. God bless.